How's it going, everybody? AZ Palau 21 here, back again with WMMA 5. Once again, controlling the UFC. Last time we saw you guys, we had just finished Tate versus Wu and Neto versus Adesanya, and we're going to continue going forward here as we are in week 1 of August 2020. Our next fight card that we have in store for you is UFC on Fox, Faber versus McDonald. The number 5 ranked Urijah Faber taking on the number 4 ranked Michael McDonald in the Bantamweight division. But before we do that, let's take care of a couple of things. I can see we have some email here. And we've got to extend some contracts. Sizemon Davalos. That picture is of Herschel Walker. 5-1 as a light heavyweight, already high-level regional in Australia. I'd like to get a couple more fights under his notch. Give him another 4-fight contract to get done in ROC. Alright, Jasmine Northcutt needs to be renewed. 3-0. Let's go ahead and renew her contract again. Get her in there. Trying to get these prospects nice and seasoned for when they get up to the UFC. This Elsie Blakeney girl is not looking like she's going to be anything special. Has lost all 3 of her fights. Thinking I'm just going to finally let her go here. And she's a featherweight. That's kind of a bummer to let her go, but she's not going to end up being much of anything, so might as well just let her go now. Sumagase Chen. It's a weird name. 1-2-1, including a no contest. I think that's because I remember, and Andre Chris, I think he tested positive for something, so he probably would have been like 0-3-1. We'll give him another 3 fights. If anything, he'll be around as a body to take some losses, help season some other guys. That guy has left. This guy needs to be re-signed. Gonsalves, he's 0-3 in Muay Thai at a national level, but he's 0-3. I'll let him go. Get a couple of other things going for himself. Jamarian Bush, 5-2. That sounds good to me. Get him another 4 fights down there. Hopefully he's 9-2 at the end of this contract and we can bring him up. Weselek. And if you guys don't know exactly what I'm doing right now, so all these contracts that are expiring are basically prospects down in my feeder leagues. I have 2 feeder leagues. One is called Ring of Combat. The other one is Invicta. Invicta is all female and Ring of Combat is all males. So when at the beginning of every month there's regenerated fighters that are created in this game. So I like to pick them up immediately and send them to those feeder leagues. Let them fight it out down there, gain some momentum, gain some popularity. And that way, you know, if they get themselves a nice record, maybe like 9-0 or something like that, and they have some popularity on their side, I bring them up to the UFC, and they don't have to win like 5 matches in a row to be recognizable. People will kind of already know who they are the moment they get to the UFC. Basically like a minor league system kind of deal. So on Weselek needs to be renewed. She's 3-0. She does not look like a flyweight, but nonetheless, 3-0 is Weselek. Beat Ariel Beck, who's actually a UFC fighter. And look at that turnaround from March to May to August. 3 fights in like 5 months. That's crazy. Nonetheless, we're going to get her some more fights here. Another 4 fights for Madrigal has signed, so let's make sure we remember to send him down. As I actually need to send a lot of people down. I forgot to send these people down from the last video. Wanda, Adriana, Esme, Madeline, Chica, and Odin. Aoife Lukens. Go ahead and give her some more fights. All these prospects, they're going to end up being something, whether good or bad, in the near future. And if they don't do well here, then hey, you never know. Maybe they'll go to Bellator, do really good there, and then somewhere down the line they end up in the UFC again. James Gallagher, I believe he lost to Yusuf Raisov, but he's 2-1 in his last 3 fights. You know, it's pretty good, so go ahead and renew him. And just as a reminder, once again, any questions you got, leave them down in the comment or the chat. Having a lot of fun doing this for you guys. So James Gallagher, we've offered him a contract. Alright. Adesanya, who we saw win in the main event of our last show. 5-1 in the UFC, as you can see, beat Antonio Nieto. Only a high-level regional. That's kind of a bummer, but we'll find another fight for him. Give him another 4 fights in the UFC, and he should be good to go. All right, Sergio Moraes. What did he do last time out? Beat Jonathan Munier. All right, give him another fight contract. Give him another 4 fights. All right, let's see here. Mearshart. I think he lost. He beat Keith Barish, 5-4 in the UFC. How's he getting on? On a little bit of a win streak. That's pretty good. All right, let's get this guy another contract. 3 fights sounds about right. Keith Barish, he did just lose his last fight, 2-3-1 in the UFC, and he was on a little bit of a winning streak before the last fight, but I think we'll keep him for maybe another 2 fights or so. Hopefully he can do well for himself, Keith Barish. Alright, so mainly this this episode is going to be mainly just moving forward to the UFC on Fox card, getting that Fox card done, and seeing if we can't book that Scandinavia card that we had trouble booking last time out, because it's gonna look it looks like it's gonna have to be like a pretty decent card, because I accidentally booked 2 Scandinavia cards in very quick succession to each other. Alright, so we got Netzo we got to renew. Just lost to Adesanya. He's still very popular in Brazil, so we can use that to our advantage. Alright. Ishihara, he's ranked in the featherweight division, I believe. Actually, no, he's not. He lost to Kenny Jordan, and so we'll keep him around for another 3 fights. Ishihara, high-level regional in Japan. Arantes, I believe he won. He lost to Augusto Mendez. And how's he getting on? Lost 3 out of his last 4. That's not exactly the best. We'll keep him around. Another 2 fights. Yeah, 2 out. That sounds good. Alright. Amon Darabi and Haley Brewer. I think this girl's actually pretty good. 6-3. Lost to Mara Rodriguez in her last time out. It's kind of a bummer, but we'll keep her around down there in Invicta. Another 4 fights for Brewer. Alright. And that is good as far as the emails are concerned. Now let's take care of those send downs. So let's open up our little notepad that we got going on here. Wanda and Adriana. Alright, so Wanda Feaster needs to be sent out to Invicta. And I used to set matchmaking instructions to do things like protect, build, and feed. But the thing is, when you do things like that, it takes a long time for them to actually get fights booked. So you kind of want to just send them down there with no instructions. Just let the AI matchmaker down there in your feeder league book the matches, and it should be good to go. And if they are good enough, they will win those fights. So we're going to send down Wanda. We're going to send down Wanda to Invicta. And I think we also had to send down Adriana. 1-1. She's ranked in the featherweight division. She was on the Ultimate Fighter show that currently has the championship scheduled already between Doris Voss and Kayla Harrison, and that will eventually end up being an episode on here. Alright, so we got Esme and Madeline that we got to send down still. Esme, send her down to Invicta. Alright, Madeline Farlow, the flyweight, we'll send her down as well. Okie dokie, and let's see here. And then it's Shika and Odin. Alright, Shika Kawasaki, 6-2, but just lost her last fight in Invicta for a championship. So give her a couple more fights, and then she should be seasoned enough to make her way over here. And then Odin Madrigal won the Bantamweight championship in Invicta when it was a co-ed kind of promotion, but then ROC was in bankruptcy, so I kind of just bought them out, and I said, you know what, you're going to be my men's feeder league, and we did it exactly like that, and it's been a very, very, very good system for me thus far. Alright, so let's go ahead and send Odin down to ROC. Although I don't think I'll be able to, because he has a fight scheduled, as, yep, it says he has a contract with ROC technically, so we're going to have to send him down after ROC 90. Alright, so That'll take care of itself eventually. Let's just go ahead and delete this so I'm not worried about it. We'll leave Odin on there. Alright, so I believe the next thing that we're going to do is set up our next The Ultimate Fighter season. So as you can see, these 16 women, all from Invicta for the inaugural Atomweight title. And yes, it is 2 consecutive women's The Ultimate Fighter seasons in a row, as I have to sneeze very badly here. I'm sorry. Ugh. Nose has been itchy all day since I've been at work. Ugh. Anyways, so the Ultimate Fighter season will have to finish before we can set that up, but I do believe that we have all 16 of the fighters necessary to make it happen. They should all be in my women's atomweight division. There should be 16 of them. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16. So we have our 16 women ready and available. They're good to go. The only thing they're really waiting on is me, but we can't schedule the Ultimate Fighter tournament until the championship for the current Ultimate Fighter is done away with. So with that said, we are going to go ahead and see if we can't.
That was pretty good.
As I try to shut this off here. Here we go. All right. Something going on over here, and bada boom. All right. So, as you can see, drug results for UFC 250 all came back clean, which is always good news. Greg Hardy, the former NFL player who ended up getting suspended because I think he beat his wife or something, 0-2 in this game. He's actually going to be fighting for the UFC on their contender series, so I'm kind of interested in that, but yeah, whatever. Alright, nothing really too interesting as far as this is concerned. Oh man, my nose is really getting itchy now. Ugh. Okay, so continuing on, matchmaking. Not sure if we're going to be able to finish out what I wanted to. We can set up this women's featherweight fight if she's available. She is not, as we're waiting on Cyborg to be good to go. It says she has just one more day, so literally one more day, and we can schedule that featherweight championship fight to be announced versus Gunnar Nelson. That is the welterweight championship fight that we should be setting up, as Luque is available, and it says that's going to be a superb main event. And so one of the main events for 254, of course, is this welterweight title fight between Luque and Gunnar Nelson. Last time out, if we can take a look, Luque has been on quite the winning streak, beating Cowboy Oliveira, Nakamura, Yancy Medeiros, Neil Magny, Carlos Condit, and then GSP at UFC 250. And Gunnar Nelson, before he went on hiatus, was on quite the winning streak. He beat Court McGee, Zach Cummings, Don Yun Kim, Colby Covington, and then Rafael Dos Anjos. And then he went on hiatus and just disappeared for whatever reason. But now he's getting his chance at the welterweight crown, and it's going to happen at UFC 254. And we're going to we're going to put that up as the main events for now until we see what Cyborg is up to, as we try to finish up this Scandinavia card, or the main card at least. We have two matches scheduled, but we need to do at least 4 more, and we need to find an opponent for Souza. So someone for Jacare to face. As it looks like there's no one really here that he can potentially go up against, as I will be right back. Alright, sorry there, had to blow my nose. My nose was really itching. There we go. So, let's see if we can't get this fight night scheduled. We have Souza, we have Amir Khani versus Carlos Alexandra da Costa. So let's go ahead and see if we can add another fight. Oh, Minikov. So I see his name, and immediately I'm going to go over to this Fox card because we need to schedule that fight with Alistair Overeem if he is willing to fight him. I'm not exactly too sure. Yep, we can do it, and it says it'll be a main show fight, but not a main event. So it means that either Mickey Gall and Koreshkov or the Holloway fight will be that main event. As I believe I wanted to do Pico versus Holloway. I think we're going to do that. So Pico. And it says it would be a superb main event. And I'm torn as to what I want to do here. But this is the fight that we are scheduling. And I believe that is actually going to be our main event. Holloway versus Pico. That's going to be our UFC on Fox card from Oklahoma. And that is going to be the main event of the show. We also got Gall versus Koreshkov, Overeem versus Minikov, Kevin Lee versus Nick Lentz, and Frank Mir versus Stipe Miocic. Pretty good card if I say so myself. Mickey Gall turning out to be quite the prospect if you can take a look at his skills. A lot of green there. A couple of yellows, but I've been kind of trying to protect him a little bit. But he'll have his first real big test against Andrei Koreshkov in the co-main event of UFC on Fox, Holloway versus Pico. Koreshkov, no slump himself. Let's see here. Look at that boxing power and skill. Really, really good up on the feet. And this is really going to be a good fight. Alright, so we got the UFC on Fox card taken care of. So the only thing we have to worry about now is the Scandinavia card. So let's go ahead and book some fights. Just once again, go down to where it says catchweight and then sort by popularity. Gian Vellante is in line for a light heavyweight title shot, but Rafael Assunção is not. And I think I want to get him, at least try to get him on this card. Maybe AJ McKee as well. Let's see what we can't find for Assunção at Bantamweight. Alcantara. Yes, they're saying that none of this is really all that intriguing, except for one at mid-level national for Ricardo Ramos. That is kind of intriguing to me. He's on a winning streak. We could always just take the L as far as this card is concerned, but that card actually that fight seems like it would be really good to me, especially considering he's on a winning streak up against Assunção, who's just coming off a loss in a championship fight. I think I'm going to go ahead and do this fight too. Assunção versus Ramos. He won't have time for a training camp, and he doesn't think it's a good career move, so we're going to give him like a bunch of money just so he can take this fight. And that sounds good to me. So 3 more fights we need to select here, and I don't think any of them are going to be women's fights, sadly. None of them have really all that much drawing power, sadly. So let's see if Nasukawa, McKee, Jordan Johnson. Try to find something for Jordan Johnson to do. I don't want to put him on a prelim again, because that's what I did last time. But if I'm forced to, I might just have to. Let's see, Jordan Johnson. Yeah, the only thing he could really do is fight Cormier, and he's not going to be doing that. Alright, so all the rest of these guys, just prelims. It says that they should be fighting in. Kusriev. None of these guys are set for the main card. Luke Jumo, he's on a winning streak. It doesn't say any of these guys should be fighting on the main card. Tony Ferguson, but he's on a drug suspension. Yeah, it's not looking like anything else is really going to be good enough for this card. Maki Matayev, that's a pretty good fight in my eye, but I'm not sure exactly how it'll go over with other people. Let's see, low-level national. For that one, that might be pretty good. Scandinavia card. I'm very confused as to what I want to do here. I think I'm just gonna go by what I think would be okay. See, like right there, boom, Nasukawa versus Joby Sanchez. That'd be a pretty good fight right there. A ranked fighter against a little bit of a popular fighter. Yeah, I think I'm going to go ahead and do that one right there. Joby Sanchez versus Nasukawa. That's one's going to be down there. So 2 more fights for this one. And let's see who the most popular fighters we are that we can book here. AJ McKee, Batayev, and Johnson. So I think we're just going to end up taking the L on this fight card. We're not going to have the best rating as far as commercial-wise, but we can only hope that the fights are really good, and that we can find a really good opponent for Souza. So we're going to get McKee in there at featherweight. Let's see, low-level national. Any other low-level nationals? Nope. All right. So I think I'm going to do this one right here, mainly because if you can see on the top right, it says low-level national is the draw of this fight. So that's going to be like the most exciting fight out of the possible ones that we can do here. So AJ McKee will be taking on Magomed Yunosilao. Both of them have 1 loss in the UFC. McKee just beat Ricardo Lamas after getting his only loss in the UFC to Damian Stasiak. And Yunosilao is on a winning streak. He just beat Daniel Hooker. He's on a 3-fight winning streak right now. So good for him. And we are going to have this match on this fight card. And it's going to be above this one. All right. So 1 more fight to schedule. And we'll see who we put on it. It's I could always put Villante on it. Kind of save the card a little bit. Let's see if I can put him up with anyone. And if I can put him up with Johnson, it says even that's a prelim fight. So I just think this was always going to be a tough cookie to crack to begin with. So we're just going to put Johnson in a fight. See if we can't get him a good, clean fight here. No, it's not looking like we're going to be able to. So who's coming off a win? Patrick Cummins is. So is Prachnio. So it's one of these two. Prachnio or Cummins. Let's see who. Let's go for Patrick Cummins. Jordan Johnson versus Patrick Cummins, and that is going to be the Scandinavia card right there. So we got Souza taking on an opponent to be announced. Let's see who we want that to be. I think where are you at, Souza? Weidman, maybe? How far out is he? 46 days, that's not looking likely. Machida, maybe. 3 months, not looking like it's going to be Machida. What about Rockhold? 16 days for Rockhold, that's a possibility. Rockhold might be one. Lombard, what about him? 30 days, probably not. Kelvin Gastelum was just in a title fight, and he's out for 4 months. Derek Brunson, maybe. 2 months. All these guys are injured. Yoel Romero. What about him? 55 days. Jotko, maybe. 34 days. All these guys are injured for quite a while. Rashad Evans. 44 days. It's looking like it's going to be Rockhold, you guys. And Adesanya is 9 days. We could put up Adesanya, although I don't think that that Souza is going to want to face him high-level national, mid-level national. So it's going to be Luke Rockhold. He's going to fight against Souza. He hasn't done it since 2011. So that's pretty far off time for him to have fought him. So this is the fight that we're going to do right here. It's going to be Rockhold versus Souza in the main event of this Scandinavian fight card. And we can only hope that it is a good fight. But nonetheless, we are going to start booking the prelim fights for these fight cards. But we're going to wait to do it after the fight card that we have going on for us. And that is UFC on Fox, Faber versus McDonald. So we're going to go ahead and skip ahead and just talk to you guys a little bit more. Just once again, if you guys have any questions or any concerns, if you want to ask about any of the fighters that might be in this save, see what they're up to, go ahead and let me know down in the comments or in the chat. And just, yeah, hit me up on Twitter at azplow21. Anything that you might want to talk about, especially this save. I love this game, WMMA 5. Big fan of it. and I'm really enjoying doing this save for you guys as we advance towards our next fight card, which is UFC on Fox, Faber versus McDonald. All right. Glad that I have a really good laptop that is capable of getting all this stuff processed really quickly. Otherwise, this stuff would be really, really annoying. All right. Take a look at the little notepad here. Just as a reminder, the Atomweight Championship will be inaugurated at some point. Taking a look at all of our contenders and whatnot. Ben Rothwell is the top contender for the heavyweight division. His fight's already scheduled. Once again, Gian Villante is the next contender at the light heavyweight division. Lyoto Machida is the same person at middleweight. Gunnar Nelson has had his fight scheduled, so we're going to go ahead and put that little star thing by him. Dustin Poirier has his title fight scheduled. Featherweight is a concern. We don't have a set-in-stone contender just yet. Jose Aldo just beat Renan Barao to retain the title, so we need another contender for him to face in the near future, but that is to be seen. I might check in on that just to see what's going on. There's got to be some featherweight fights that are coming up soon, so it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top and who ends up as the next contender to face up against Aldo. At Bantamweight, Almeida has his fight scheduled, and the Mayday Faber winner is also a title eliminator. So the winner of this fight will be next in line after Almeida to face off for the Bantamweight Championship. At the flyweight division, Naoki Inoue will be the next contender for Benavidez should he win his next fight. At featherweight, it's Cyborg. Remember, we're waiting just for one day, and we could schedule that right after we get out of this for the featherweight championship against Conan. Norma Dumont is the contender at the bantamweight, followed by Amanda Nunes, setting up what could end up being a rematch between Ronda Rousey and Amanda Nunes. So that would be pretty cool to see. At women's bantamweight, at women's flyweight, we have a match scheduled between Mackenzie Dern and Maria Barella. The winner of that fight will go on to face the flyweight champion Jillian Robertson. Remember, Mackenzie Dern is a former women's flyweight champion after she won a tournament. And Courtney Casey from Phoenix, Arizona, I believe, is set to face off against Rose Namajunas, I believe, on a UFC on Fox card. All right. So we're into Wednesday right now, almost over to the UFC on Fox card. I set up the fight engine so that way the ticker goes at 1.5 seconds. It was kind of a little bit too slow last time out. Kind of took forever to get through all of the fights. So hopefully you guys are okay with the speed that it goes at today. Just trying to get through these fight cards rather quickly. And I think I'm going to do this one big stream followed by, I think I'm going to keep on going as far as I'm concerned. Just record a bunch of fight cards right now and release them in succession. See processing shows ROC, processing Bellator hirings. I'm curious as to who they think they can hire, really, other than people that I let go, because that's who they tend to end up hiring. Just like in real life, when UFC releases people, Bellator look to hire them. So what are your guys' thoughts on actual UFC things that are going on? What are your thoughts on the fight night that we just saw? Jimmy Rivera got absolutely crunched by Marlon Moraes. Like 40 seconds into the fight, he got knocked out. That was crazy. We have big news going on. The World Cup is going on. I'm super stoked on that. I'm a big soccer fan, and I can't wait for the World Cup. So, yeah, we'll talk about that if you guys want to. But we are here at Fight Night, and we do have some mail, quite a lot of it. And the first thing that comes to mind is Oleg Borisov. I see he has missed weight. How are you? You look like a chunky boy. You don't look like a featherweight at all. Borisov lost to Mark De La Rosa. And he is facing off against Cody Stamann, but he is going to have to move up to the featherweight division following missing weight. All right, so we got some deals extended. Un Wasiluk has been signed, so let's go ahead and put her name down right here. All right, so Jessica I needs to have her contract renewed. And let's see here. She is a featherweight, and she is scheduled up against Alexis Dufresne. I want to keep Jessica I, so let's go ahead and get that contract renewed. All right, once again, Borisov missing weights. Guys are extending. That's all good. Sizamon is good. All right, so Sizamon, or it could just be Simon. I could just be saying that wrong. Haley Brewer has re-signed, so we'll have to send her back down. Let's go all the way down here. Aoife Lukens has signed. That's always good news. So Aoife will have to be sent back down. All right, Sumagase. Weird name, but whatever. All right. Nico Price has joined Sarah Longo fight team. Interesting. Tanya Ebinger needs to have her contract renewed. I don't think she's doing very good. 0-4 in the UFC. Yeah, it lost to Cyborg. And then after that, lost to Megan Anderson, then to Gomez, then to I. I mean, featherweight is kind of... the thing with featherweight is that there's not very many, so I kind of have to keep everybody. So I think I'm just going to hold on to her for 3 more fights. And if she loses those 3 fights, hopefully there's enough women up in the featherweight division to where I can actually let her go. Rogerio Bontorin, 0-4 in the UFC. I'm not going to be re-signing him. Dong Song extends his deal. Jamarian Bush has signed, so I'll have to get him back in there. All right, so Jamarian. Jasmine Northcutt has signed. All right, Yadong Song extends his deal. Israel Adesanya rival bid. Let's see here. I'm the only offer he's considering. That's good. Let's see here. Jeremy Kimball wants to renew his contract. Let's see if we want to do the same thing. Lost to Darren Stewart his last time out, and he is on a little bit of a losing streak in the light heavyweight division. We'll give him 2 more fights. Give him another chance. All right, so let's see here. Isabella Badarek. I believe she's also on a losing streak. 8-7. Yeah, I'm not going to be re-signing her. All right, extending deal, extending deal. Tate is back. That is good. Emily DeCote has signed from Bellator. That's cool. 9-5 as strawweight. Let's see. She most recently lost to Belbita. So let's take a look at her skills. She's only 26, so still some time to improve. I think we're going to send her down to Invicta. So Emily will also be heading down. All right, along with Emily, let's see who else is going to be heading down. Rosalia Pazzella needs to get her contract extended. 4-2. Yeah, let's go ahead and extend her 4 fights. All right, Frivola recovers. That's all good. All right, let's see. Nobody here is of the utmost importance. Jap Vanden Hoek has signed. I believe this is one of the, this is one of the prospects. So that's always good. Light heavyweight prospect. Jap with 2 A's, and then Ondrej. Ondrej. All right. Any more? All right. No, but Frivola needs to be re-signed. The Steamroller Frivola. All right. Go ahead and get him re-signed. Give him another 2 fights or so. All right. Frivola is back. And it looks like we're good with the emails. So, all right. So with that taken care of, first thing let's do is let's go all the way over to 254. And let's put Cyborg in this featherweight championship fight. And it says that Cyborg is up 2-0 on this series. But look how evenly contested this fight is going to be, 140 to 110. It says it's going to be a superb main event, and it says it's high-level international for the women's featherweight championship. And let's book that. Boom. If it might end up being the main event. It says high-level international, and I think that's exactly what the other one was, high-level international. So, yep. We're going to do it this way. Luke Nelson is going to be the main event, with Conan and Cyborg as the co-main event. We got a really good 254 fight card right there. And, yep, that looks to be good. And I don't think anyone is ready for Souza just yet. He's coming off a victory, but he's not really good enough to face off against Costa. And Machida's already in line for that. But let's go ahead and check the rankings, because we need to find, once again, we need to find someone to fill this void as the featherweight contender. So let's go over to featherweight. And let's check out what's going on. It might end up being this Pico Holloway fight that does it. Holloway's on a 2-fight winning streak, Fili and Mendez. That's pretty good right there. Yair Rodriguez is coming off a loss. When he just lost the title, this is his first fight back against Patricio Freire. So he can't qualify. He can't qualify himself for a title shot based off this win, because he needs to win 2 more. That's a rule that I set for myself. Renan Barão just lost to Aldo. Freire, I think he just lost his last fight. To Barão. So that fight between them two is more of just a setup fight. But yeah, doubt no. And then as we go down, it's not looking all that promising. So yep, it's going to be this fight between Holloway and Pico that sets up the next contender for Jose Aldo. Let's see who Pico has fought. He has fought Korean Zombie, Duhoi Choi, and Mizuto Hirota. So not the most name value. Korean Zombie, obviously pretty good. But nonetheless, Pico versus Holloway is the main event of that UFC on Fox card. And it is also going to decide the featherweight contender. So Pico, Holloway, not Holloway, Holloway, winner. And we could potentially see Holloway versus Aldo 3 if this were to happen. Holloway versus Aldo 3 could end up happening, or Pico versus Aldo 1. You never know. You never know with the world of mixed martial arts, and it looks like we should set up the main event names for that. Nurmagomedov versus, I'm just going to change that to Habib. Habib versus Gaethje. All right, and then Souza versus to be announced. All right, that's looking good. The only thing we need to set up is find Souza. He will be fighting Luke Rockhold, but that's got to be in like 2 weeks or so that we're going to set that up. So we could set up our prelims right now, but I think I'm going to do that off camera. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you guys that fight card, Faber versus McDonald, but not before we actually send those prospects down that we need to. So let's go ahead and get that done. We have that we need to send down. So will be going back down to Invicta, 3-0. We have Simon Sizimon. He'll be heading back down over to ROC. Get a couple more fights in. All right, Haley Brewer will go back down to Invicta. All right, Aoife will go back down to Invicta. All right, Sumagase, that's right, weird name. He'll go back down to ROC. All right, Jamarian Bush. Sounds like it should be a Jamaican name, not an Australian name. Nonetheless, he's going back down to ROC. Okay. All right, so it is Jamarian Jasmine. Jasmine Northcutt. She'll be going back to Invicta. And let's see here. Emily. Not Emily Decote, that's right. The lady we just signed from Bellator. And finally, we have Jap and Andrej. No, we're not trying to look at Damian Stasiak. Jap Vanden Hoek will be going down to ROC. And Andrej. Andrej Frankiewicz going to ROC. Alright. That's all taken care of. We can go ahead and delete this right here. Keep little tabs on things. Odin still needs to be sent down. But it looks like we're ready for fight night, you guys. I'm going to go ahead and save, and we'll take things from there. UFC on Fox, Faber versus McDonald. The only one that missed weight was Oleg Borisov. He has been sent to the featherweight division as a result. And we are set for UFC on Fox, Faber versus McDonald. All right, all set to go. And the first prelim is Eric Showtime Shelton as he takes on Jean La Pulga Herrera. And these prelims, once again, I'm going to just skip right through, as the first prelim is between 13-5 and 11-6. Very close on the betting line. And we're going to see who comes out on top. And it is Eric Showtime Shelton via TKO in the third round. And he says that it was a tough fight, gives some respect to Herrera. Next is the 15-8-1 Jennifer Maia taking on the 8-6 Jody Esquibel. And Esquibel wins via knockout in the first round, improves to 9-6. And Esquibel wants to face off with Diana Belbita next. That's who she's calling out in her post-fight interview. Next is Rowdy Beck Rawlings taking on Xiaonan Yan. Big favorite is Yan, and I feel like this might be the end of the line for Rawlings should she lose here. A big underdog, and I don't think her time in the UFC is going to come to a great end as she loses to Fury Yan in the first round and on just 12 seconds. Wow. Literally. Beck Rawlings just walks into the octagon and gets knocked out immediately by Yan. So an impressive performance by Fury. And she says she's happy with it, and it landed perfectly. All right, so moving on. Kate Jackson, 9-9-1. She might be at the end of her line here as well. Takes on Katarzyna Lebonska, a big 1,000-point favorite at 9-4. And Lebonska gets the win by submission in 120. The judoka gets the win over Jackson and probably sends her to the unemployment line. Said her confidence in her submission game is at an all-time high. All right, next prelim is Nathan Soulforce Coy as he takes on Keenan the Assassin Song. 15-10 versus 15-7, and a pretty close betting line as the Assassin Song comes out on top and improves to 16-7. And he wants to face off George Sullivan next. Interesting. As Dynamite Dan Ige takes on Alexandra Cidade. Big favorite is Cidade at -690, 18-3, taking on 11-4 in Ige. And it's Cidade who comes out on top via the Kimura submission in the first round. And up next is Cody Mr. Wonderful Stammen going up against Oleg Borisov. Now remember, he came in 3 pounds overweight. He'll be in the featherweight division in his next fight, and he is the underdog in this one. So let's see if Stammen comes out on top, and he does not. Borisov using that 3-pound weight advantage to defeat Stammen via triangle with armbar in 110 in the second round. And he praises Stammen with a tough fight, but he will be up in the featherweight division. Next is Guido Ninja Ganetti taking on Jordan Alday Rinaldi. 17-7 taking on 8-6. And this might be the end of the line for Ganetti as well, as Jordan Alday Rinaldi sends him packing via unanimous decision. All right. So next is Albert Morales taking on Brian Boom Kelleher in the last prelim. And it's 20-11 taking on 10-5-1. And let's see who comes out on top in this bantamweight fight. It's the Warrior Albert Morales, improving to 11-5-1. Fantastic crowd, and he really sold himself. And we are up to the main card of UFC on Fox, as it is Eddie Wineland taking on Michinori Tanaka in our opener. This bantamweight fight, the 40-year-old Wineland, 26-14-1. Let's take a look at his history. Has lost recently to Mayday McDonald and Tom Duquesnoy, although he does have victories over Jimmy Rivera, Yuri Alcantara, and Cody Garbrandt, looking to get back on track after losing to some quality opponents. And he takes on Michinori Tanaka at 16-3, who is coming off 5 straight wins in the Deep promotion, as well as AFC, one match in AFC, and then beating Bibiano Fernandez and then Ronnie Yaya. All right, so Tanaka versus Wineland. Let's see who ends up on top. I'm going to take Tanaka just because he's younger. Betting line's a little bit better. As, yes, it is Tanaka beating Wineland via submission in round number 1. And he wants to face off against Garbrandt in his next fight. That could be a pretty interesting fight. As next we have Andre Touchy-Feely taking on Khamzat Dalgiev in the featherweight division. Touchy-Feely, number 13 in the UFC, is coming off a loss to Max Holloway, a win over Cole Miller, and a win over Charles Oliveira. All right, and then Dalgiev has only had 3 fights in the UFC, has won all of them over Roman Szymanski, Diego Rivas, and then Cub Swanson. So my money's on Dalgiev, but you never know with Touchy-Feely, as the fight is underway, and Dalgiev beats Touchy-Feely in the 3rd round via north-south choke. So on TV, Dalgiev gets the win, improves to 17-1, and cements himself as the top 10 in the featherweight division. And Dalgiev says that he knew that the game plan was right, and he was always going for the submission, and he got it to go. So next, it's going to be Neil Magny as he takes on MVP Michael Venom Page. Pretty interesting matchup here. In the welterweight division, Neil Magny, a very even fight, as I believe this is his debut fight in the UFC. Yes, it is for MVP. Taking on Neil Magny, who is coming off of a loss to Jonathan Webb, win over Rick Story, loss to Vicente Luque, and a loss to Leon Edwards. So has only won 1 out of his last 4, has Magny, and he's taking on Michael Venom Page, who's actually coming off 2 straight wins from Bellator and looking to cap off his UFC debut with a win. So MVP versus Neil Magny, and it goes the way of Michael Venom Page. Knockout in the 2nd round. It was a great fight, and he caps off his UFC debut with a win, and he finishes it off by saying he wants Jorge Masvidal next. Very charismatic, and he sells himself well. That's very good. The co-main event up next, Johnny Big Rig Hendricks takes on Oscar Imadlo Piachota. So let's take a look at Johnny Hendricks first. Has lost to Talis Latis in his most recent fight, but before that, 3-fight winning streak over Rashad Evans, Robert Whitaker, and Uriah Hall. But he's taking on a Piachota who is fresh off retiring Anderson Silva. That's right. At UFC 247, he had the honors of defeating and retiring the Spider, Anderson Silva. Also has wins over Michael Bisping, Sibe Dalloway, Tim Bosch, Adesanya, and Hunter. So this Piachota guy is really one to look out for in the middleweight division. So it's Hendricks against Piachota, and it's looking like Piachota might come out on top with this one, and in fact he does. A leg lock submission in round number 2, and it was a good fight. Let's see. He doesn't call anybody out. He just praises Hendricks for a good fight. Piachota might get a top 10 fight in the next one, but we are to our main event of the evening for this UFC on Fox card. It is the California Kid, Urijah Faber, who I had the pleasure of talking out of retirement, taking on Michael Mayday McDonald. So it's in the bantamweight division. The 41-year-old Faber, I'm afraid he might retire if he loses one or two more fights. A very even contest. 36-11 is Faber, as he takes on the 21-5 Mayday McDonald. Once again, looking at Urijah Faber, most recent fight was a win over Johnny Eduardo, lost to Marias, and then beat Almeida pretty recently. And for Mayday McDonald, he's coming off of beats over a win over Marias and a win over Wineland. So once again, this fight is to see who is the next bantamweight contender as we get things started here in our main events. All right, Faber fires off counter jabs. Looks like they're both trying to land some punches here early on, nearly halfway through the first round already. Big jabs wide for McDonald. Both these guys trying to scrap initially. Remember, the winner of this fight will face off against the bantamweight champion, TJ Dillashaw, for a chance at that bantamweight champion. Massive right head kick. Faber hits the floor. He's been knocked out, and Mayday McDonald is your bantamweight contender. Let's go ahead and take a look. You never that thing can those things can happen real quick. So McDonald comes forward, walking down Faber, and Faber threw a counter jab, and as he threw it, Mayday McDonald hit him with a jab and then scored with a massive right head kick, and Faber immediately hit the floor and was knocked out. And so Mayday McDonald wins by knockout in the first round and is your bantamweight contender. Said he was proud to get that knockout. It was very spectacular. Showed off his kicking power. And just like that, that is UFC on Fox. Faber versus McDonald. And I'm glad you could join me for this. We'll be right back. And we'll be back again for our next fight card as we take a look and see our popularity increase in the United States a little bit. Fight of the night. It doesn't feel right to give a fight of the night to something that only lasted 3 minutes long. But nonetheless, fight of the night and knockout of the night go the way of that fight. And Piachota ends up winning submission of the night. So really good fight card overall. Lots of things going on. And we're going to sign off by giving you guys what's coming next. Looking at the next fight card. And then we'll be signing off for this episode. But how about that? We now have a bantamweight contender. So we can officially put it in that it is, boom, Mayday. After Thomas Almeida, he will be getting the next bantamweight title shot. We also know that at featherweight, it will be the winner of Aaron Pico and Max Holloway to be the next person to take on Jose Aldo. And these are just the fight nights. You know, we haven't even gotten to a pay-per-view yet, and we're already seeing some amazing fights. Some really good stuff happening in this save, and I'm glad that you guys can join me for it. If you have any comments, any concerns, if you don't like anything that you're seeing, let me know down in the comments or in the chat. Just feel free to hit me up, as we are very pleased to announce that Neto versus Adesanya, the drug results came back. Everyone is clean, and boom, McDonald beats Faber, and we are going to take a look at our next fight card, and it is what I was talking to you about earlier. The fight card that we're going to be doing next is the Ultimate Fighter finale, Vaz versus Harrison. The co-main event, Kayla Harrison taking on Doris Voss for the Ultimate Fighter 27, I think it's 20, either 28 or 29, season 28 or 29 championship. One of these ladies will be staying in the UFC as a featherweight competitor. The loser will probably be going back down to Invicta and owning her craft just a little bit more. So that is to be seen. That is the next fight card that we have going for us, and we will give it to you when we come back. We'll be right back for this UFC save. Thank you for joining me. AZPlow21 is the channel name. Thank you for watching. We'll see you guys later.